Hi Pisces, welcome to April. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And before we start with your reading, I want to let you know what's going on this month astrologically. So we have Mercury moving into Taurus on the 4th. Then we have a full moon in Libra on the 6th. Venus moves into Gemini on the 12th. We have a solar eclipse in Aries on the 20th. And then Mercury goes retrograde from Taurus in Taurus on April 21st until May 14th. But we'll talk about that later. Let's see what the cards have to say for Pisces. What does Pisces need to know about love and relationships for the month of April 2023? What does Pisces need to know about love and relationships for April 2023? What does Pisces need to know? The Knight of Cups, the Seven of Wands, the Six of Cups, the Four of Wands, the Moon, the Knight of Wands, the King of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the Chariot, the Hierophant, and the card at the bottom of the deck is the Four of Swords. Okay. So the Knight of Cups, you're starting out the month with the Knight of Cups energy is a romantic proposal. Someone could be approaching you with love, or you might feel like approaching someone with a romantic proposal. Since this is the first card, this could be your energy as a Pisces. And crossing this, you have the Seven of Wands. So I feel like you could be in a challenging relationship where you need to set some boundaries, or you need to stand up for what you believe in. Because the Seven of Wands is about overcoming obstacles, but it's also about standing strong in your beliefs, standing strong in your position. So you have the Six of Cups here in the past and the Four of Wands. Six of Cups is about revisiting the past, like healing from the past. I feel, and you also have this Four of Swords. I feel like you've been in this healing mode, and you have an opportunity to connect with someone from the past this month. You also have the Four of Wands, which is a card of victory. There's potential. I feel like you could connect with someone that you could have a significant relationship with, that could possibly lead to commitment. But there's a couple of things that you may have to take care of first. One is you might still be in the healing mode with the Four of Swords. You might have needed to take time out to rest, to heal, possibly from a past relationship. But you've learned a lot from your experiences. So if you went through a difficult time, you've learned enough to know that the next time around you're going to make things better. You're not going to repeat the same mistakes. Because the Six of Cups is about learning from the past and moving into a more harmonious future, like making the next time around better. Sometimes that can mean with a new person. So I feel like there are going to be new people coming into your life, but you might also be reconnecting with someone from the past. And you may have to decide, is this person right for me? Do I want to connect with this person? You might have to figure out what's in your best interest and stand your ground. Like, don't settle for less is what I'm saying. Coming up in the future, you have the Moon and the Knight of Wands. Now, I don't really like the Knight of Wands energy. If it's a person, it can be someone who is very charming, promises, it's like promise them everything, deliver them nothing. So you want to be careful that you don't fall for a sweet talker this month. Because the Knight of Wands energy is someone who's a lot of fun when they're around, but they're not always that reliable. So you can't always believe what they tell you. They may make all kinds of promises and may not deliver. They don't follow through. And with the moon energy, you might be thinking like, I don't know, can I trust this person? Especially because you have the Seven of Swords here in the reading, in your environment. So you're thinking like, I don't know if this person's being honest with me. Can I believe what they're telling me? Are they telling me everything? Because the Seven of Swords energy is someone who says one thing to your face, another thing behind your back, or they have like an agenda. They could be a user. So you want to be careful who you connect with this month, and make sure they have your best interests at heart and they're not just giving you a line. Because I feel like you could be coming across, you could come across someone who's really worthy, but you could also be coming across someone who's looks good on the surface, like all that glitters is a gold, is glamorous on the surface, but doesn't have good intentions. They have a hidden agenda. I don't like this moon energy, and I don't like the Seven of Swords. And with the moon, you have to, there are things that are hidden that you don't know, and you need to ask questions. Don't take things at face value. If there's something you don't know, you need to speak up and ask, what do you mean by that? Or get details, get more information. Don't commit to anything unless you know all the information. And don't also fill in the blanks with your imagination, because the moon can represent imagination. And it is related to Neptune and your sun and your planet, where you have a vivid imagination and you're very intuitive. But sometimes people with a very vivid imagination can wander into the area of delusion. So you don't want to be like have this rose-colored view of someone, especially because you have the Knight of Cups in the present, and that could be your energy. The Knight of Cups energy is very romantic. You have this beautiful dream in your head, like, oh, my soulmate, and you may give someone more credit than they're worth. So you just want to be careful that you really evaluate, use discernment this month with any romantic connections. Make sure whoever you're connecting with is honest. You have the King of Wands here. So you could be connecting with a fire sign, especially with the Knight. So you could be connecting with fire, water, or even earth, because the Hierophant could represent Taurus energy. The Knight of Cups could represent some kind of water. So you have, so that could be Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Fire could be Aries, Leo, Sag. Now the King of Wands normally, in the upright position, is a good leader, very outspoken. Could be a little bit bossy. They have a big heart. They like to help people. They like to advise people. They could be a little bit opinionated at times. But they mean well. And so it could be the King of Wands could be someone like a mentor. If it's a partner, you may feel like this person's a little bossy. Because Pisces is not a bossy energy unless you have other things in your chart. Pisces is usually, you avoid conflict. But Leo energy is like, they're not afraid to tell it like it is. They're not afraid to confront people. And if it's a good Leo, they are natural leaders. And they are strong. But maybe also, but I don't like this Seven of Swords energy. Because it means there's some sneaky activity going on. Now that could mean, sometimes the Seven of Swords, it doesn't necessarily mean like someone's cheating or not being honest with you. Sometimes it could mean that someone's not willing to face the truth about the relationship. Like there are certain things, even about themselves. Like maybe if you're complaining to a partner and you're telling them, hey, this is how I feel, and you're trying to set boundaries, and they're like gaslighting you, they don't want to take responsibility for their actions. It could be something like that too. So you may have to stand your ground this month, especially if you're dealing with a difficult partner or someone who's a little bit slippery. And demand facts, demand, to be told the truth, demand honesty. Now, the Knight of Wands can sometimes also mean a change of residence or change of job. You have the Chariot here. That's also a travel card. It's in your wish fulfillment sector. Now, the Chariot is victory through discipline and focus. So if your energies have been too scattered lately, you need to take time out to think, what do I really want? And zero in on that one thing that you want or one person that you want. Because you may have too many irons in the fire. You may be so busy doing every little thing that you don't have time for love. or you don't even have, like you're not making progress anywhere because you're spread too thin. So you may have to drop some things that are not that important, that have been draining your energy, and just focus on what you really want to achieve. You have the Hierophant here as an outcome card. The Hierophant is about doing the right thing, following tradition, making a commitment. You could be dealing with someone who's a little bit stubborn, so maybe you're trying to get your point across that you want a commitment, you don't want a fly-by-night relationship, or you want something that's more solid and steady, because the Hierophant represents, if this was a career reading, it would represent a company that's been around for a long time, something solid like a university or a bank or a hospital, something that's solid and steady, but also conservative in the community. In a relationship, you could be dealing with someone with those qualities, someone who's not open to change. They're just very rigid in their personality. Like you can't tell them anything. You can't even suggest. They're like, no, this is the way I am, and I'm not changing, So you might be dealing with that, and you may have to set some boundaries. But you can have victory if you stand your ground. You can overcome any issues. And I feel that once you get past the hump of figuring out, can I trust this person or not, and not waste your energy on someone that you think who's not reliable, because the knight is not reliable, but the king is. So if you're trying to decide between two people, I would go for the king energy, someone who seems, who's solid, who says what they, the way you can judge people, it's not what they say, it's what they do that counts. Because we get caught up in what people say. And some people who have a gift with words can manipulate where you think, oh, this person's just wonderful. Everything they say is just great. But what are they actually doing? That's what you have to look at. When they say they're going to do this for me, do they actually follow through and do it? When they say, whatever it is they say, as long as what they say is followed up by action, then you can trust that person. So don't just take words at face value. Look for the action. But I still feel that with the Hierophant, your goal is a commitment. Your goal is something traditional. You don't want any fly-by-night romance. You're not interested in that. And you need to set your boundaries and stand your ground against anyone that comes in with, this snakeskin, snake oil salesman kind of energy. Don't waste your time. Go for what you want. The commitment, the stability. Even though it may not be as exciting, at least it'll be stable. And it'll be, something that you can rely on. Or someone that you can rely on. Because I feel like you're going to have multiple opportunities. But you want to be discerning. Don't look at love through rose-colored glasses. Don't see what you want to see. Look beneath the surface to see what's really there. And that's how you can test someone's love or honesty. Ask them to do something. See if they follow through. Test them. So let's see what the angels have to say. Because, Pisces, you're so romantic and you're full of dreams and you just want to have that beautiful romantic relationship. And that's great, but not everybody's that honest. Some people are, you have to watch. You don't want to give your love to someone that's not going to value your love. That's going to just take advantage of your innocence or your romanticism. So let's see. What do the angels have to say for Pisces? Judgment. Let go of your fear of being judged. You are good enough. It is time to unlock all that you have kept safely locked away in your heart. Your true essence and potential has been restricted by structure and method for long enough. There is no right or wrong way, just be you. So there you have it. Be yourself. They say that there's a saying, be true to yourself and you can't be false to anyone else. So don't try to be someone else just to fit in with someone. Just be who you are and you'll attract the right mate. So let's see. You have a full moon in your 8th house, and that's the house of other people's money, sex, death, taxes. And you have the sun in your second house with Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. So at this full moon, you're going to see the truth about some financial situation. Anything that might have been hidden in relation to finances is going to come to the surface, especially about a partner's income if you're married. And if you're relying on someone else's income, the truth is going to come out. The other way the 8th house could work is if you're looking for a loan from a bank, or you're getting an inheritance or some kind of insurance payout. Information is going to be coming out at this full moon. You might be finishing that up. You might be getting a check at this time, and it'll help you. The 8th house is also about investments and debt, so you might be paying off some debt at this time. With Jupiter in your second house, I feel like money is coming in, so this should be good financially for you at the full moon. Mercury moves into Taurus. Mercury has been in Aries, and you've been probably thinking of ideas on how to bring in extra money. Now Mercury's in Taurus in the 3rd house with Venus and the North Node. So if you're looking for love, you need to get out in the neighborhood, because Venus and Mercury in your 3rd house, it's all about communication, networking. Love can be right around the corner, but if you're in the house and you're being a hermit, you're not going to meet anyone. So get out and talk to people, communicate, get out and socialize, talk to your neighbor, talk to your siblings, talk to your friends. There could be love there. There could be opportunities in your local environment, especially because Venus is sextile Neptune. So you're really putting out the glam this month. Neptune's in your 1st house, and Venus is sextile Neptune. You could attract love this month just by being out and about. You could run into someone while you're shopping or, running around town, running errands. So don't miss that opportunity. Mercury is sextile Mars in your 5th house, and also sextile Saturn in your 1st house. So with Saturn moving, well, first of all, let me do the Mercury-Mars. Mars in your 5th house, if you're not in a relationship, there's a strong possibility that you could attract someone, because Mars in the 5th can bring love and romance. It could be more of a sexual connection, like an affair, but it could be hot. And with Mercury sextiling Mars, you could have a lot to talk about too. You could have good communication. Saturn's in your 1st house, so it moved from your 12th, and now it's in your 1st house. So Saturn's asking you to get serious. How do I want to be seen in the world? I want to be respected. People are starting to look up to you and seeing, this person, they're very hardworking. They're very disciplined. And that's attractive to some people. But you're getting serious about your appearance and the image that you're projecting. So you don't want to be too conservative, with Saturn. Sometimes when you have Saturn in the 1st house, you look too serious and people are afraid to approach you. So don't be too serious. You want to drop your guard and show that you're approachable. But having Saturn sextile Mercury is great, because you can speak up and you can communicate, and people can see, like, hey, this person's got it on the ball. Share your ideas. Now, Mercury is squaring Pluto, and you have Pluto in the 12th. And Mercury is now in your 3rd. So you want to be careful how you're communicating. When Mercury squares Pluto, there could be some angry outbursts. You might be going over the top in your communication style. So you want to watch that. Don't become the bully, the verbal bully. Choose your words carefully. It's not what you say, but how you say it. Pluto going through your 12th, it just moved into Aquarius. You're going to be working on a lot of psychological issues over the next 20 years. Pluto is going to help you to release any kind of self-limiting beliefs or baggage that you need to break free from. Pluto is also going to reveal a lot of things that have been hidden. So it's a good time to do psychological work. Any kind of depth psychology, any kind of where you're dealing with the shadow and you're trying to make yourself stronger psychologically, dealing with things you might not have had the courage to face in the past. You can do all that work now. Saturn in your 1st house is sextile the North Node in your 3rd house. So Saturn's asking you to speak up, talk, to get involved in communication. If you've ever thought about writing or doing any kind of communications project, you have talent. You may have talent that you didn't know you had. Or you may have a knack for words. especially if you're doing any kind of serious technical writing or something where you have to make an impression on someone. Now we have the new moon eclipse in Aries on the 20th. And that's happening in your second house of money, self-worth, values. And it's at the 29th degree of Aries. So this is really significant because it's telling you that some cycle in your financial situation is coming to an end. The 29th degree means you've gone through, you're done with this way of being. It's time for a new beginning. So you have to let go of the old. Anything that's not working or hasn't worked for you in the past that involves your financial situation, maybe the way you spend money, the way you earn money, but also your self-esteem, your self-worth. Have you been getting paid what you're worth? Have you been getting the love that you need? What about your values? What have you been spending your money on? Maybe you've been wasting money on things that have no value. Now it's time to have a new beginning. And the eclipse can bring a sudden new beginning that affects your finances in a positive way because you have Jupiter there also. Jupiter conjunct the new moon eclipse is bringing opportunity and expansion. It's bringing money in. And you have Chiron there, so you've been working on your self-esteem and doing some healing, some deep healing. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had this sudden new beginning where you start earning more money, you start getting paid what you're worth, you start being valued, and you start valuing different things. Even your values might be changing. This moon now is conjunct the North Node. It's an out-of-sign conjunction, so it's going to involve communication and siblings. So you could have a new beginning with your relatives. Maybe if you haven't really talked to them in a while, it may be time to reconnect with them and have a new relationship with them. It's also square Pluto. Pluto's in the 12th. So there could be some power struggles around money. Like maybe you feel like you deserve a raise and the powers that be are like, nope. And you have to, stand your ground about that. So some financial situation could have some power struggles involved with it. But you need to be firm and you need to be, empowered. Come from a place of empowerment. Mars is in your 5th, definitely great for, and it's sextile Mercury and Uranus in the 3rd house. So a message is coming in. It may be unexpected. So from someone you never thought you'd hear from. All of a sudden they're contacting you. And it's sextile Mars in your 5th, so it could be a new romance that can be very passionate. So that's a possibility, some unexpected communication. And it's also, the North Node is there, so it's like communication is big this month. It's going to lead to a lot of changes. So the message can come through a sibling, through your family. It could come from friends, your neighbor. Or it could also just mean that you're getting all these brilliant ideas about a communications project that you're working on. And you're going to just go with it. Trust your intuition and trust your ideas. And don't be afraid to share them with the powers that be. Venus is moving into your 4th house. It's in Gemini now. And when Venus is in your 4th house, it makes things more harmonious at home. So your home life will be more just calmer if you've had like problems with people at work, at home. Or you could also decide to redecorate. Maybe you're like starting a new romance and you want your house to be nice. So you're fixing up your house because you want to have this, feathering your love nest. Venus in the 4th house is a great time to redecorate, paint, buy new furniture, whatever. You're trying to make your house beautiful. Venus gives you that knack to find the right thing. And Venus now is squaring Saturn. So you could be busy with work and you could be, one thing you don't want to do with Saturn squaring Venus, you don't want to dampen, come on too serious, because that may push people away. Because Saturn is in your 1st house, it makes you look very serious and conservative. And that's not really who you are, but you may come across that way. And you may block love because of it. So drop your guard, be more friendly. Don't think like, oh, I got all this work to do, I have no time for love. Make time. Saturn wants you to be, doesn't want you to be alone. But when Venus squares Saturn, you could feel like cut off from the people you love. especially your family, because you're working too much. So you want to make that work-life balance. But Venus is sextile Chiron, and Chiron's in your second house. So I feel like you're going to be doing a lot of healing around money and self-esteem issues this month. And Venus will help you. And Saturn is also sextile the North Node, so it's helping you in your third house of communication. It's helping you to speak up. I think this is the time for you to speak up and tell people how you feel. Don't be so, drop your guard a little bit. Saturn will help you find the right words, so you're not going to make a fool out of yourself. But I think you need to just be more open and be more available. If you've been going through a period of all work and no play, I think that's going to come to an end. And you're going to have time for romance. Definitely with Mars in your fifth house. If you're ever going to have any kind of romance, now's the time to do it. Because Mars will bring you that opportunity. So love is on this month. Or at least, romance. I don't know if it's going to lead to commitment. That may come in time. Excuse me. I've been choking with these allergies because of everything's blooming right now. But definitely choose your partners carefully. Be discerning. Don't fall for anybody's, sweet talk. Make sure they follow up with action. But you have a very good possibility of having love come in unexpectedly. So go for it. If you get an unexpected invitation to get out and do something, take it, because it can lead to love. And it's time for you to have fun. All work and no play is not good. So that's my forecast, Pisces. Be discerning, but don't block love off completely. Leave time for love. It's not all work. Don't do all work. So that's my forecast. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button, leave a comment. If this resonated with you, or let me know what's going on in your life. I'd love to read the comments. This is a general reading. It may not apply to everyone, but if you want a private reading that applies to only your situation, click on the link in the description box. It'll take you to my website. We can get you on the schedule. In the meantime, have a wonderful April, and I will talk to you again next month. Okay, bye now.